Hi Phil.
Hi there, Andy.
We're going to be asking some pretty in-depth questions for people, and the first one we're going to be tackling is about business contracts and what exactly is a business contract.
Okay, very good question. A business contract is essentially a contract between two businesses, which is a pretty unexciting answer, but it's important in law to understand that, because a contract between a business and a customer, a consumer, a member of the public that isn't necessarily a business, is a slightly different thing. And so when you're talking about a business contract, you're really talking about a contract between two businesses.
So it's a B2B thing rather than a B2C thing.
It's a B2B, not a B2C. That's it.
And what's the importance of it? I mean, what's the importance of having a contract when you're doing business with someone else?
Yeah, I suppose ultimately it's very important in business that everyone knows where they stand and they know what the deal is between themselves. Because I think that when you first get involved with someone, ultimately, two businesses, there's a need somewhere. It isn't always a mutual need. It might be that one party needs something that the other business party to the contract can provide, maybe they alone can provide, and often what they receive in return is payment. But if you undertake the task that you're being asked to do, whatever it is, if you haven't agreed the price up front, or you haven't agreed the basis on which it's going to be paid, etc., but you undertake the service that they need, then the problem you face later is probably slow payment. Because the need has been satisfied. So it's important before the need is satisfied that you tie up as much of the parties' mutual intention as you possibly can and avoid any wriggle room later.
Because there's a lot of people sort of tend to do business on a handshake, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can do business on a handshake, dare I say it, an oral contract, I suppose, nothing in writing, and still have a binding contract between two parties. The problem is there will inevitably be a misunderstanding about what was said, and if you've got no witness to what was said and you've got nothing in writing, then there can be misinterpretation, and again, you can have wriggle room where one party can say, oh, but I thought that meant this, or I thought that meant that. And the key as a solicitor, if you like, when acting for clients, is to make sure you minimise, or better still, remove all possible wriggle room. That's how I describe it, so that the parties later on can't find a way of interpreting whatever was agreed to their advantage at a later date.
Because I think one of the things with things like business contracts, people sort of when they go into business with another company, they tend to feel like it sounds sort of like they don't trust the other party if they're asking to put a contract in place. That sometimes is a little bit embarrassing, especially with smaller companies or inexperienced companies. When it comes to maybe a JV or a joint venture partnership or something like that, where they're actually using both businesses to go and create business elsewhere, it's really essential to have a business contract in place, because it will determine exactly what each part in that business agreement is, and sometimes it feels like it's wrong to do it because it feels like you're not trusting someone, but it's absolutely essential, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's an interesting point you raise, reference embarrassment, asking for a contract. I take the view that it is quite embarrassing to ask for a contract, perhaps when you've already been working with another business for 12 months or even a few months, because the first thing that's going to do is make them wonder, well, why are they suddenly asking for a contract after 12 months? I thought everything was going quite well.
Right.
And it does create uncertainty. The other thing it can do is you can be turning over some good business between yourselves, and then suddenly everyone gets their poker face on and they start negotiating a business contract, and it can cause disruption and awkwardness, and even cause someone to look at alternatives when perhaps they were satisfied. The time to put a contract in place is up front. And I will tell you something, if you're dealing with a business, they want a contract. There's this whole element, in my opinion, or what I observe anyway, where businesses, you want to be friendly, you want to understand who you're dealing with, you want to deal with a person and someone that, you feel comfortable speaking to if there's an issue, or just to say, would you mind just maybe doing it this way, or perhaps we could do that kind of thing. You don't want to deal with a faceless organisation if you can avoid that. But clients are always pleased to have contracts in place, because at the end of the day, if you're running a business, you're either running it on behalf of other people, shareholders or other partners or whomever you're dealing with, or you're running it on behalf of yourself, and inevitably you've got a mortgage to pay and a family to feed, and you need to know you're going to get paid on the date agreed, so that you'll be able to pay that mortgage. And so you do need to have a contract in place, and I rather take the view that if someone is too embarrassed to ask for a contract to be put in place, they're almost not ready
to do business. Okay, well, thanks very much, Phil. That is the end of the first part of this. So join us in part 2 when we're talking a little bit more about business contracts.